Okay, good morning. My name is Christian Andersen. You might have seen me down at the docks during the forum. I represent Spectre Marine. Uh, when I'm not doing the HSBO assisting for the organization here, I'm the CEO for Spectre, and I represent our projects in Africa. Spectre Marine is a marine training provider specializing in advanced training, high-speed boat operations for military and commercial applications everywhere around the world. The company originates from Swedish Amphibious Forces and specifically the CB90 training program. So that's our background. My personal background is originally from the hospitality management industry. Then I went through a decade of high-speed reboating and project management. The idea today is to talk a little bit about our adventures in Mozambique. And as the title implies, we run a naval academy in Mozambique. I don't know if you've been there, but the beautiful country of Mozambique has 2,700 kilometers of coastline. And yeah, okay. 2,700 kilometers of coastline and almost zero presence in their own territorial waters, making the Mozambique Channel a perfect place for poach fishery and piracy. And due to Mozambique holding a lot of natural resources as oil and gas, it's a very attractive place for foreign offshore companies. This, combined with piracy and poach fishery, is not a good idea. So the Mozambique government realized that it needed to act on it. So an order was placed to buy a navy. This large order included a full range of high-speed interceptors and a quite extensive training program. Of course, the training contract landed in the lap of Spectre Marine. And this is where we come in. I got this task in August, which is not a lot of time. My only input was we need to tailor-make an extensive training program based on Swedish or Scandinavian know-how that is applicable and workable in the southern parts of Eastern Africa. We need to have Portuguese as a educational language, and we have no idea of the level of the students. The only thing we know is that in 12 months they have to be able to operate and command their new 55 knots interceptors. And you have to be up and running by the end of the year. So I got 4.5 months to get this program started and established in Africa. So quite interesting. You could say so. So my first thing was getting the task, and then of course selecting the team. Due to lack of time, I realized that we needed a very tried out working educational platform that we could adapt to this specific application in Africa, being very special. So I started to scout my network, trying to get a hold of the right kind of persons. And I found my old friend Peter. He will later on be on the stage explaining the actual product. So having the production of the actual training program in safe hands with Peter, I carried on and realized quickly that the largest challenges would be not the production, but the cultural and the political challenges down there, and the differences between the two cultures. And the only way to cope with that is to really try to do your homework. So I spent a quarter of my time during the fall down in Mozambique, trying to learn culture, learn the people, get to know the need, and get to really understand the task that we were up to. Basically networking with everybody, everywhere from Swedes down there to the daughter of the ex-Archbishop of Maputo. So the network down there is now quite extensive. So I was there a lot, tried to learn to do things the right way, basically. And I quickly realized that the biggest difference is the perspective of time management and deadlines and holding what you say you're going to do and so forth. So came home, try to figure out how to do this. I realized that if we build a backbone as a training program with Swedish management, a local-oriented faculty on site, and Portuguese-speaking instructors, this could be a good idea. So that's the way we set off. To cope this, I needed to get three factors common in the whole organization. Firstly, some kind of naval background on everybody, some kind of teaching experience, and of course, languages, Portuguese and English. So we basically ended up with Swedish management, Mozambique/Portuguese faculty, Portuguese, Venezuelan, Chilean, and Brazilian instructors with a little bit of Mozambican and South African. So it's a good mix down there now. But it wasn't so easy in the first place. We started out with contacting our old contacts in Portugal, setting up with for Portuguese instructors. Everything went smooth, really nice. I went out to Maputo. I met up with the politicians and sat down with one of the guys and said, Christian, by the way, you can't have any Portuguese instructors due to politics. Okay. This was like 2 months into the project, of 4.5 months. So that was a big, major throwback. Came back home, realized that we have no instructors. There's 2.5 months left. Thinking, oops, what are we going to do? So we set our minds on South America instead. We had a lot of contacts in Venezuela, some in Brazil, a couple of guys in Chile. Started contacting everybody, flew them over. So yeah, it worked out fine, but it was a big throwback. And for the organization management down in Mozambique, I really needed a guy that I could trust, organized guy, vigorous, reliable, a guy who I can phone up every day and see we have the same perspective in all the different matters. And of course, then I found Mr. Henrik Hartman. He's going to be up here later today as well. Yeah, and from January now, we're up and running. In general, everybody's okay. We're delivering exactly what we're going to do. The Mozambique Navy are making really good progress. So in a couple of months' time, we're going to operate the fast boats, and hopefully we're gonna cope. Next up is Peter. He will talk about the specific product, the system that we created, that we are applying down there. Please come up on stage.
Okay, thank you. So, my name is Peter, and I have a background in the Swedish Marines and the amphibious forces, and as a head teacher at the Swedish Naval Warfare Center. I will talk about these 4 bullets. So it's my task that I got from Christian, the project manager. I will talk about the process of developing the system, the educational structure, and of course the pedagogy and the methodology. My task was to create an education for high-speed navigators and drivers, and of course the school was going to be self-sufficient and managed by its own personnel within a certain amount of time according to a contract. So that was one of my challenges. The process of building a school and its content to develop this system, I had to rapidly, due to the short amount of time that we got, I had to analyze the task, of course. I had to establish our conditions and start to structure the work and the timeline for the education and how the education should be executed regarding all the pedagogy and methodology. And then I had to establish how to operate the school and the school staff and all the personnel that we had to recruit regarding, of course, the Portuguese issues. And then I had to also make to operate a school. It's not just a content of education. You also have to have school rules, code of conduct, code of ethics, organization structure for faculty and students, of course. The curriculum was also made during this time. This is our educational structure. It's divided into basic training and advanced training. So the basic training is in the blue pillars. It's divided into different steps, and that makes the education thematic, and that's a certain way of teaching. And to complement that, we have also these threads that run through the whole education to summarize the knowledge of how being a basic sailor. And then for the advanced training, we will select the best students, of course, to do specializing training in search and rescue, our VP-18, Navigator's First Class. It's a wave-piercing boat. And of course, instructors. And the instructor part is to go back to that the school is going to be managed by its own personnel. And the model is based on knowledge. It's not based on time. And that's because we have to adapt to the country and its culture. So we can't be tied in time, because due to the culture and the content, then it could be an education for 7 months or 12 months. We never know. So it's based on knowledge. So a short word about our pedagogy and the methodology is that we have an always, when we start a new block in our education, we will have an exercise end state demonstration, and that will Henrik will talk a bit more about that, and that puts the task that they will execute into context, and that provides long life learning, of course. Our methodology, it's based on positive learning and a good climate for the students and the instructors, and that's because we want the students to take responsibility for their own learning, their own tasks, their own equipment, and their own boats.
My name is Henrik Hartman, and I'm the senior site manager down in Pemba in Mozambique. I've been employed since January, been home approximately a month in March. I have a background as an officer in the Swedish Amphibious Forces and also a master in business administration, something I think helps me during this time in Mozambique. I will continue talking about the site manager's main responsibility. I will talk about obstacles and how to ensure a certain level of the training. Christian talked about the Swedish management and how we ensure that we implement the Swedish or our pedagogic model in the training. So if we start with my responsibility to implement the Spectre pedagogical model. As Peter described, we are carefully following our course description and the model that Peter showed you, and it tells us what to do and how to do it. And to be able to follow the course description, I must make sure that the instructors, they are following this pedagogical model. The model is about having the capacity to complete the training regarding the students. And prior to course start, we test all the students at a pre-selection. We test them in theoretical and physical tests as well as senses, making sure they are able to continue the training. And after this pre-selection, we evaluate each student, each individual, and the one who passed the test, we offer them a chance to start the program. We have something that we called exercise end state demonstration. It's where our instructors show the students how something is supposed to be done. Before we start an exercise, the instructors show the students, this is how you do it. And then the students see, okay, this is what they expect me to do when we're done with this exercise. Trust, a very important word. Mistakes are acceptable during training. We must make sure that people, students, they walk outside their comfort zone, because that's where they're doing progress. And they must feel comfortable in showing their weaknesses. Encouragement. It creates confidence and willingness to learn more, in contrast to punishment. Punishment creates fear and actually hampers the student's development. Enjoyment, also a very important word. We try to create an easygoing working atmosphere, because students who are at ease, they learn much more. If the students feel enjoyment, they want to attend the training and they will learn more. I can guarantee you that. How to ensure the training quality? One simple thing, internal training. That's why I'm there, making sure that the instructors are following our pedagogical model. Our instructors, they are recruited from all over the world, and when they arrive in Pemba, they have their own perspectives, their own pedagogical culture, and perhaps experiences from previous work as an instructor. And to be able to work in accordance with the course description, we must make sure that we all have the same mentality and way of teaching. And to ensure this, we start every employment with a 2-week internal training. And during the internal training, I personally train the instructors and make sure that when we start the training with the students, we have the same way of teaching and an understanding of the Spectre pedagogics. And a lot of effort put into the soft values. We discuss how to reach out with our knowledge. If the students don't learn, perhaps it's not the students being dumb. Perhaps it might be the instructors teaching in the wrong way. Then we have to change our way of teaching the students. And this is key because we have a limited time, and we're gonna provide the Mozambique Navy with boat operators within approximately 10 months. So we need to be flexible and understand how to teach the students to make them learn. I know that we are running out of time. Yes. And actually, that concludes this presentation.